just says to try, a number of things. Sometimes you're testing what's the right market, what's the right product or service, or how am I going to kind of deliver this in the right way. Am I going to go kind of niche, or am I going to kind of go broad? There's lots of different decisions that you need to kind of like make. So like a little bit of a combination lock, you have to kind of like test things to kind of unlock, and then all of a sudden you've got something that kind of is working, and then you go, great, let's kind of like double down on that.
Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Create Your Life. I am your host, Simone Leah. So I just wanted to let you guys know that today's interview is actually an interview that I recorded about a year ago when I ran an online event called the Soul-Led Entrepreneurs Summit. It was a really, really, really wonderful event. I had some beautiful, amazing speakers talking about things like connecting with your intuition and how you can use that in your business, how to do Facebook advertising, how to do marketing as a soul-led entrepreneur, all of these cool things to do with business, entrepreneurship, and actually also spirituality and connecting within. And so these interviews were so wonderful that I really wanted to be able to share them with you now. So if when you're watching this, you see or hear the word Soul-Led Entrepreneurs, this is still the Create Your Life show, but these interviews were just too good for me to keep to myself any longer. So I really, really, really hope you guys enjoy this interview, and I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Hey guys, and welcome back to Soul-Led Entrepreneurs. My name is Simone and I'm your host today. So today I had the absolute pleasure and honor of interviewing Dale Beaumont. So Dale Beaumont is an award-winning technology entrepreneur, an international speaker, and the author of 19 best-selling books. Dale started his first business at the age of 19 and has been building companies ever since. One of those companies is now a multi-million-dollar enterprise, which has enabled Dale to become an avid investor, charity supporter, and travel with his wife, Catherine, and 2 sons to more than 85 countries. As a result of his success, Dale has been featured in Forbes, The Huffington Post, Business Insider, Gizmodo, and GQ, just to name a few. For me, this interview was amazing. I feel so blessed and lucky to be able to do what I do, because Dale is someone that I have looked up to and admired for the past 15 years. So Dale originally was doing a lot of events and speaking about book publishing. So I actually went to one of his events about 15 years ago, and that's where I first started to follow him and see what he was up to. And I have just so much enjoyed his journey for the last 15 years and seeing what he's doing. And the reason why is because Dale puts these businesses together and there's such a strong emphasis on helping people and providing value and information. But at the same time, he's also living this amazing life. So Dale travels for more than 3 months of the year with his wife, Catherine, and his sons. And it's such a joy to watch because he's so present in that time that he's traveling with his family. And so it's really nice to see someone who's doing such amazing work in business, but is also taking that time to be present and involved and living this beautiful life with his family and creating at the same time and providing value. So it was an absolute pleasure for me to interview Dale because we got to talk about adaptation in business and creating a life you love while still traveling the world and also making, money, which is what we all want to do. We all want to have that amazing life where we can just create and grow and share. So it was an awesome interview. There is so much in this that you guys are going to get value from. I feel like I could have talked to Dale forever because there's just so much awesomeness and amazingness that you can get from a conversation with someone who's playing at his level. And by playing at his level, I mean someone who's successful and present and giving and happy and joyful and creative. So he is definitely someone who we should all be following, learning from. Go and check him out after the interview because he's absolutely amazing, and make sure that when you're watching this interview, you're writing things down because there is so much value here, and I hope you guys enjoy this interview today. Hey guys, and welcome back to Soul Led Entrepreneurs. My name is Simone, and I have the absolute pleasure and honor to be here today with Dale Beaumont from Business Blueprint. How are you, Dale?
I'm great, thanks.
I am so excited to have you here. As the audience obviously already knows from me in the intro a second ago, you have been a mentor of mine for a very, very long time. And I'm so excited about our chat because what I really want to talk to you today is about adaption in business and the way that you kind of have just moved through your journey, creating this beautiful business, but you still travel the world with your beautiful family, creating things you love, and just living this awesome aligned life. So I'd love to lead in with the question of what does being aligned in business mean to you?
Yeah, well, I think that if you're in business, you've really business is about helping you to create the life of your dreams. And so, for a lot of not a lot of time, but for maybe the first 5 or 6 years of business, it was like business was at the center of everything, and my life just kind of like was in the background. And so, if I didn't get enough sleep, or if I didn't eat well, or if I didn't wasn't able to enjoy a weekend. It was all about just business, business, business. But at the end of the day, that's kind of like the tail wagging the dog in terms of, it's just kind of the wrong way around. And so for now, it's about like, what do you want your life to look like and be like, and the experiences that you want to create. Because as they say, no one on their deathbed ever says, I wish I spent more time at the office. And so therefore life is really at the center, a family, lifestyle, what do you want to do? And then you build the business around that to deliver that particular result. So as you kind of mentioned before, I love to travel. Thankfully, I married a girl who also loves to travel as well. So when we had our kids, we wanted to basically travel and show them the world, which we've been able to do. So we thought, what does that look like? So we decided that I still love helping people. I still love my business, but I knew if I just did that solely, and my kids were going to grow up so fast, and I would never spend time with them. So what we decided to do was do 2 months kind of working, and life is kind of like normal in Sydney, and then 1 month we'd kind of disappear somewhere and go explore some part of the world. So 2 months on, 1 month off. And we've basically done that for 12 years until kind of COVID put a halt on our travel. But we are now starting to travel again, which is really exciting, and where our goal is to visit 100 countries with our kids. So that's something that we hope to do in the next 2 years.
See, that's amazing. I literally love that. And what I'd love to know is how do you do it all? Because you do have that thing where you're present with your business and then you're present with your family, but your business must still be running in the background, or how is that actually working? Because you just go and live your life.
Yeah, sure. So, how do I do it? Well, let me go through a few different layers to that. First of all, you've got to create, something that people want. You've got to have a good product or service that there's demand for, and we can kind of unpack that and talk about that more kind of fully. And then what you need to do is to build some systems around how to actually sell that product or service on a consistent basis, whether you're there or not. So how do you generate leads on a consistent basis? What channels do you kind of use? And then how do you actually convert those leads into customers with or without you being there? And then how do you deliver your product or service without having to be there face to face, which is now totally, I've been doing it for a long time, but it's now totally accessible to everyone with regards to things like Zoom and using all the different apps that we use today as well to communicate and collaborate with people no matter where you are, really anywhere in the world. So you don't have to physically, be in the office meeting people these days. You can really do it from anywhere. So part of it is using tools and technology, really good systems as well, and then also having a team, because there's still a lot of things that have to be done by people, and so you need to surround yourself with a really great team, and we can talk about how to do that later on as well.
It's just amazing. And I think another thing that I really do want to lead into as well is because it's not like you're running this small level business and then you just disappear and leave like one or two people there to do it. you've got a lot going on because you've actually got obviously Business Blueprint, you've got the magazine, you've got like your fundraising event that you do every year in New Zealand. And so there's like actually a lot going on. Is there separate teams that kind of run everything, or is it the one core team? Because it's not like you're leaving one or two people behind. You'll literally have like an empire.
Yeah, and yeah, there's actually other companies that I'm in the shareholder and investor in as well. So with those ones, they're kind of pretty easy because the CEO of those businesses run those companies and run those teams. So collectively, in all the different companies that I'm involved in, we probably have around 250 staff combined. But the other CEOs run the other businesses. So in the one that I run day to day, we have about a team of 20. And I've got a really good general manager who kind of looks after most of the day to day of the business. And so if I'm normally chatting with those people, then things can kind of get done, and that gives me kind of room to kind of play. I still have a direct relationship with a lot of my team, and I enjoy kind of like chatting to them. But if I'm never unavailable, then they can talk directly to their direct manager, and that kind of means that I can kind of move around and go wherever I feel that I'm needed and wherever I can kind of add value.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what does that actually look like? So when you're at home, you're working like a normal week, and then when you're away, you're just working a minimized week, or how does that kind of look?
Yeah, so well, when I'm home, I'm normally into the office sort of like roughly not 9 to 5, but sometimes I have to leave early, like every mum or dad with kids going to soccer and scouts and golf and other activities and things that they have. So it's sometimes pretty chaotic doing the juggle, as every parent would know. Thankfully I have an amazing wife, Catherine, who looks after the kids most of the time, but also I do pickups and all the other bits and pieces, cook dinner if I have to as well. So yeah, that's just kind of like fun home life, and we try to make sure that we spend some good time together on the weekends, and I try to go for a coffee with my 14-year-old son most mornings as well, go for a bit of a walk, or go down to and walk along the beach and things like that. So that's pretty normal. And then when I travel, normally I do around about 1 to 2 hours a day of work, just to make sure I kind of clear the decks and keep on top of my email. I reply to a lot of messages via an app that I use called Voxer, which enables me to send voice communications with my team and the different businesses that I run, which saves a lot of time. And then eventually kind of there's work that sort of like starts to sort of build up. And then after about a week or maybe 2 weeks, I'll say to my wife, okay, like I need a day where I can just catch up on some things. There's things that I can't kind of put off any longer. And so if we're traveling, we might be somewhere, she might go, okay, well, I'll go to the museum today and give you 4 or 5 hours, and then I'll kind of like power through work or interviews or things that I need to do. And it just kind of like when you're traveling, there is times when you're very busy and going places, but there's other sort of downtime. You might be kind of on a tour and they finish all the announcements, and so you're just on a bus going from point A to B, so I can get 15 minutes worth of work done on my phone. So it's kind of like I don't necessarily see work and sort of family life. Like family life is definitely, there's got to be some type of separation there, but it just depends on where you are and what you're doing, and if you could squeeze in a couple of quick messages that don't take too much effort, then you just kind of get it done wherever you are and just have fun.
I literally love all of that. And I think it's just such a great example for people like myself, but even for your sons, to see you actually being able to run this amazing business, but also be so present in your family life. So I think it's really inspiring to watch you from even a distance or as part of your family. I think what you're doing is amazing. And I feel like I could talk to you for 5 hours, but I know, obviously we don't have 5 hours. So another great thing about you that I'd really love to talk about is the fact of how much you adapt, because obviously you started off with the book publishing and running a lot of live events and that sort of stuff. And then there was, you brought in the apps, and then you've obviously got Bizversity and the recording studio. You've got Business Blueprint. You've kind of just like adapted throughout your whole business journey while living this awesome life. Are you able to talk to us about how that adaptation happens and even why?
Yeah, well, one of my core kind of principles was, and this came from a guy called Michael Rowland, one of my mentors when I sort of started my sort of journey of personal development 22 years ago. He said, in life, you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. So he's basically said there's no such thing as standing still, because if you're standing still, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're, by definition, you're kind of dying. And so I've always been just at my core trying to, trying to innovate, trying to do things better, trying to figure out what's the kind of next thing, how do I get there first. And I built this a studio 5 years ago, way before the pandemic hit, knowing that one day we're going to be doing a lot more video, and we're going to need to be doing video conferencing and live streaming and broadcasting our events way before anyone else was doing these online events. And so, yeah, and look, sometimes these decisions that you make, these pivots or these innovations work out great, but there's sometimes when things kind of don't, or sometimes you're kind of too early and you're kind of, the world needs to catch up. So I think it's important to just do these little experiments along the way, try something and see if it kind of works. If it does, double down. If it doesn't, then you can just put your time and energy into something else. But I think trying new things and doing small experiments to find where's your next. If you think about, like, there's this thing called the S curve, you can research kind of online where something kind of grows and then it kind of stops. So if you're getting that plateau and you're feeling like I'm just basically going sideways, then it's time to shake things up. What can I do to go to another level? It might be hiring a new team member, it might be introducing a new product or service, it might be setting up a new marketing channel, it could be launching some type of new initiative. But yeah, if you feel yourself going sideways or starting to kind of decay, or then you need to shake things up.
Yep, I literally love that. That was going to be my next question, is when do you even start doing that? So in a just a standard work week, however many hours that is for you, how much time would you spend to that, like that kind of growth part of your life? Like, because I know obviously you do a lot of personal development. Obviously you're ahead of the curve because you're always like, you're making decisions about video editing 5 years ago. To be on the forefront and innovating and learning and growing the way you do, what percentage of your time is spent on that?
Look, I probably think maybe like half an hour a day I would spend just researching technology, different things that I'm interested in. So I probably watch 15 or 20 videos a day just on YouTube. There's a bunch of different channels that I sort of subscribe to. So at the moment I'm learning about this thing called the metaverse and what it is and how it's going to change business and how we basically need to evolve and adapt. So I'm kind of just curious, and I'm learning a bit about that. Something called DeFi, decentralized finance, as well as something that I'm starting to research and thinking about. Yeah, future of finance and how we're going to be exchanging goods and services. So I'm just curious. I'm interested in things. I watch a lot of videos. Then I talk to smart friends as well that I kind of have and say, hey, what's your take on this? What do you think? Do you think this is going to be kind of big? What do you think a website like one of the companies that I have is in the area of website development? And I'm thinking, okay, well, what is a website going to look like in the metaverse? And we just kind of, have fun chatting about those type of things. And then if we kind of see a path or an idea or an opportunity, we then got to go, is it the right time or are we too soon? And then let's just do a little experiment and see how it goes. And if it works, awesome, we'll double down on it. And if it doesn't work, then we'll maybe shelve it and come back to it in the future.
What I'm hearing a lot of is like creativity and play. And it's almost like you're running your business, from the sounds of it, from this very curious, let's just try this and see what happens. And then let's try this. But also, like, obviously having those foundations underneath you to support what's already happening. But it sounds like instead of going into business and being like all serious, I'm going to turn up and this is what's going to happen. And it's going to be like a tightly run ship and everyone's got no fun because we're all stressed out. It sounds like you've built this beautiful, playful culture of let's just learn and grow and create and share.
Yeah, I think it's part of a point you kind of get to in your business, whereby the day-to-day stuff is kind of like taken care of, and there's a certain amount of sort of stability that you kind of have, and the right sort of people taking care of just things that have to get done. And then that's the ultimate, when you can get to a point where you can do things that you really love and enjoy, and things that challenge you, and hopefully they turn into good business decisions. But even if they don't, then that you kind of look back and said, hey, I did some pretty cool things and I made a good impact, and it was I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. Do you think if someone's earlier on in their journey than you are, for example, that they can actually build their business with that culture in mind of learning and growing and creating and sharing? Or do you think they need to go through the hard yards?
You can do that from sort of starting out, and I think it's important to have that kind of like mindset. Like business in a way is one kind of big fat experiment. You're just supposed to try a number of things. Sometimes you're testing what's the right market, what's the right product or service, or how am I going to kind of deliver this in the right way, am I going to go kind of niche, or am I going to kind of go broad? There's lots of different decisions that you need to kind of like make. So like a little bit of a combination lock, you have to kind of like test things to kind of unlock, and then all of a sudden you've got something that kind of is working, and then you go, great, let's kind of like double down on that. And then what you kind of need to do is, once you've kind of got something that's working, then sometimes it's a good idea to sort of stop experimenting too much and just actually really work on that and get that flowing and kind of optimize it, but not to get too distracted, because when you go too far is when you kind of get something kind of going and you're just starting to produce results, and then you go, oh, I'm going to now go over here, or I'm going to go over here. It's like, no, you've got something that's working. Let's make it work better. Let's take it to the next level. If you're doing $10,000 a month, let's get to 20,000 and then 30,000, or whatever your kind of target is. Because if you get distracted very, very easily, that can actually be a negative thing as well. So there is a bit of a balance, but yes, I think a curious, innovative, play type mindset is definitely helpful as well, because then it doesn't feel like I'm going to work and I have to be serious and then I have to suck all of the joy out of everything that I do. I think if you having fun while you're working as well, then it just makes it easier to do, and you end up doing more work if you have that philosophy.
Yeah. Well, on that note, how would you start to systemize some of those ideas that you have started to optimize? So say you've got your one idea and you want to pretty much double that idea from where it's currently at. How would you start to put the systems in place to do that, to then take that to double and then to triple?
Yeah, so it's really simple whenever you're growing a business, and I'll give you an example for this. When I was writing a series of books called the Secrets Exposed series, I was able to do 2 books in the first year, 2 books in the second year, and in the third year I did 11 books in the 1 year. And people were like, wow, that's phenomenal. How did you produce that? It's because we had really great systems. So how my mind would work would be, if I was doing something, whatever it was, say someone asked me a question, I would say, will I ever have to do this again? Will I ever have to answer this question again? Will I ever have to reply to a similar message, or will I ever have to reconcile petty cash, or will I ever have to do a stock take again? Anything that you do in your business, you ask yourself the question, will I have to do this again at some point in the future? If the answer is no, like it's a complete one-off task that you've never dealt with before and you'll probably never deal with again, like maybe you have had something catch on fire, that's a pretty rare event, just hurry up and get it done and deal with it as best you can. But if it's something else like doing stock take, and it's to go, okay, I did this a month ago and I have to do this month and I have to do it next month, then you got to go, okay, stop. This is a repetitive task, and what I need to do is I need to document how I do that particular task. So then I can pass it on to someone else, because if you are a business owner, then your time, as a business owner is worth, $100 to $200 like an hour, in terms of that's what your time is worth. Because if you're focusing on marketing or sales, then that's the type of income that you can produce. But the problem is most people only spend 5 or 10% of their time on sales and marketing because they're too busy doing all this other stuff. So what your job is to take all that other stuff and systemize it and pass it on to someone else and if it's something that could be done by a virtual assistant, you can pass that off for $5, $6, $7 an hour. So they can then do that particular task. So you can then spend more of your time on income generating activities. Or if you need to, you could hire someone locally, but it's a lot better to have those jobs done by someone else, so you can spend more time on generating more revenue and finding new opportunities to grow.
Yeah. I literally love that. And I'd love to know, since you're so ahead in the tech game, what are you using to put those systems in place these days? Like, are you using things like Loom, or is there new stuff? Like, how are you actually passing on that information?
Yeah, there's a number of different tools. The first one is to kind of get everything out of your head. So we use a tool called MindMeister to kind of map everything out and basically organize all of your thoughts and all the different departments and functions within your business. And then from there, you're going to need somewhere to then start to put your systems. Now, there's a free tool out there that we recommend to a lot of our clients called Google Sites. Google Sites is basically it's like a company intranet. It's like best way to think about it is a private website. It's a website that is just for you and your staff. So it's never public, no one ever sees it. And you can go in and you can set up a new page. Basically every system that you have in your business has its own page. And then from there, you can populate that page with content. So sometimes it's words, sometimes it's a checklist, sometimes it's a video, like you might use Loom or Screencastify to put a video that you're going to embed in there. You might put in some type of template that people have to download and complete. There could be like an audio file or just screenshots of showing someone what to do. So Google Sites is good because it's free. There's some other tools out there now that are better. They are paid. They're not very expensive though. There's one called Trainual. There's another one which we use called Teamwork Spaces, which is a fantastic place to store your systems. There is one called Systems Hub as well. And basically, yeah, these are all places where you store all of your systems. And then when you hire a new staff member, you could then say, here are all of the different things that you're now responsible for, and here's all the systems around how to do it. And then they basically learn what to do through your videos, and then they can start doing those things on your behalf. And there's also another layer to that on top, which is that's when you would have some type of project management software as well. So there's the mind mapping, there's the actual storage of systems, and then there is project management, which is basically helping people to know what to do and when to do stuff. So it's more of a task scheduling tool, and then you use Teamwork Spaces or Google Sites for the knowledge management aspect of your business. And then the last kind of component is having a good CRM system as well. So they're the kind of core tools that you need in order to really systemize your business effectively.
I'd love to ask, because that's amazing, amazing information. What if someone's sitting at home going, I don't have time to run all these tools? In your particular case, how much time are you spending on management, or is a lot of that sort of management work going to your general manager?
Yeah, a lot of it goes through my general manager. However, when people say I don't have time for these tools, if you don't have a tool, it's basically you are the tool. And basically you are doing it all, and it's in your head. And your head is not a very, your brain can focus on maybe 2 or 3 things at a time. If you give it 10, 20, 30 things, it's just going to go and freak out. And so it's actually better to use tools. It's actually going to save you time. It takes a little bit of time to learn and set up. But the pain is for a few days or for a few weeks, and then after that, you're going to save like hundreds of hours worth of time over the course of the year. And they're not that hard to learn. And this is exactly what we teach our clients, is how to build systems and how to get all these tools set up. So there is training available out there to help you to do this. And the sooner you do it, the better. And what this is also going to do as well is cut down a lot of email communication, because oftentimes people put tasks and they send them to their staff via email, and they might have sent off 10 or 20 emails over the course of a couple of days, and they're just crossing their fingers and hoping that things get done. But they've got no visibility, they've got no way of tracking, they've got no way of seeing the progress. So that's where smart business owners would use some type of project management tool. There's one called Teamwork, which we use, one called Asana, which is free. There's also another one called Monday.com as well. If you want to run a business that's going to grow beyond $100,000 a year, then you need to have some type of project management tool. Otherwise, you're just never going to grow.
Yeah, I literally love that. And then would you be looking at that project management tool, or would you be allowing your general manager to do that?
Well, it's got to start from you to begin with. So there was a time whereby I was setting up all the tasks and I was kind of managing everything. But then once I've kind of like my team has grown to a certain size, I've been able to hire a general manager, and now it's their responsibility to be able to manage all of those tasks that need to get done. So I think at the start, it's got to be you. You need to learn it. You need to get it set up, because if you don't understand how it works, then it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with that. And it actually makes me want to just ask another quick question here around understanding what your staff are doing. Do you believe that you need to have a little bit of an understanding of everything your staff are doing? Or do you believe you can, like, say you have no idea how to do something, would you straight up outsource that, or would you get an idea of how to do it first?
Yeah, I think that a little bit of information goes a long way. So for example, if it's, you're outsourcing kind of like SEO, you could just say, okay, I know nothing about SEO. I'm not going to learn anything about SEO, and I'm just going to give it to someone else. And they'll say it's, $1,000 a month, and you'll just go, okay, and you'll just pay the bill. But then you've got no like real understanding of what they're doing, and if you start seeing great results, fantastic. But oftentimes the results might either be not there, or they might be you're not getting the results that you want, and then you can't really have a conversation with them. So I recommend spending an hour, maybe 2 hours, to kind of like learn, or maybe buy some type of a course that you can do in a couple of hours, like a crash course in SEO, for example. Spend 2 hours learning about it, and then you're going to make much better decisions. And you might go, actually, we don't need to hire an agency, we can do this in-house, or we are going to hire an agency, but now we're going to keep them accountable, and here's how I'm going to keep them accountable. And if things aren't working, I'm going to go, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? So I'm not going to necessarily do it, but I need to understand at least what's possible, and I need to actually have some way of tracking the results and know the different core functions of what they're doing, so I can actually have a decent conversation with them. Otherwise, they're going to then bamboozle me with all this tech talk and and stuff, and I'm going to go, oh, it's too hard, I don't understand, and then I'm just going to be forced to pay whatever they kind of like are going to want to charge. So I do think having a bit of information goes a long way.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely amazing. I totally agree. I just hear some business owners now who are like, I'm just going to outsource that and that and that and that. I don't want to understand it, but I'm with you on that. I agree that you need to have, I feel like you need to have a bit of an understanding of things so you can pass it along. So,
and maybe just an hour or 2 hours. It's not going to be necessarily, a month's worth of work, but just know enough to at least understand, what you want and what's expected, so you can hold these people accountable.
Yeah. I literally love that. I also would love to know if someone was wanting to get to a place where you are, say, for example, they want to have their core business, which is, say, business blueprint, then they want to be having like a charity event that they run or like a foundation. And then they also want to have like a magazine like you do, and they want to have a business that has all these different dynamics. What would your top 3 tips be for someone who wants to build that, who's getting started?
Yeah. Okay. So I think get one or two things working really well first. If you try to do 3, 4, or 5 things at the beginning when none of them are kind of like working, that's yeah, that's not a good place to be. So get one thing kind of like working, and then use that to then fuel the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Systemize everything that you do, so you're not having to do all these repetitive tasks. Do it once, do it twice, but you don't need to do it a third time. Once you've done it twice, systemize it, and then you can pass it on to someone else. And then the other thing is invest in your team. You've got to realize nothing truly significant is ever achieved by just one person. It's always through the combined efforts of a team. Sometimes we look at, pick any kind of like significant person. Elon Musk, for example, is getting a lot of attention as the CEO of Tesla. But there is more than 10,000 employees at that company that kind of work to make that possible. So anything significant is always through a team, and just start small and then grow from there. You can start by hiring a part-time virtual assistant. In fact, I've got a little course that I'm happy to give people access to on hiring a virtual assistant if you like. And then from there you can kind of grow. You might have a second and a third virtual assistant, and then later on you might hire someone kind of locally, and then you'll start to grow your team. And then eventually you might get to 5, 10, 20 staff, and that might be the optimal level for you. Or you might want to grow it further to 50 or 100, depending on what your kind of goals and needs are. So there'd be a couple of tips that I'd recommend to really make sure that you're able to grow.
I literally love that. I do. Thank you so much. And one more question. Where do you think business is going? Obviously, you're looking at the metaverse. Where are you feeling like business is going these days?
Yeah, well, I think that the metaverse is definitely an exciting, is very exciting in terms of its potential, but I still think it's going to take, maybe 3 to 5 years before it really goes mainstream, and then probably another 5 years to kind of really build that out. If you think about it, it took the internet around 15, 20 years before, it became what it is today. I think it's going to happen much faster than that, but it is still going to take time for it to really take off. So right now, in terms of where business is going, well, clearly there's a bigger shift to online. So and that's either in terms of people buying your products quite easily through like e-commerce, but also even people are now buying services. People are buying gym memberships online. People are buying dry cleaning services online. So even if you are a service-based business, people should definitely be able to book online. That's for sure, like for a consult or some type of free quote or things like that, and then perhaps even pay online as well. Businesses also using technology more and more, so the sooner you start making technology a core part of your business, the better. And also businesses going more remote. We don't have to just have teams in our offices anymore. You could have satellite offices all around the world with people working from co-working spaces. So yeah, that's exciting prospect now is that we can hire talent from everywhere, and also the cost of wages is very different in different parts of the world, and so it gives you the ability to have more support than ever to help you to grow. So you can hire 3, 4, 5 people, for example, remotely for the cost of one person kind of locally. So that means we've now got choices. So it's never been easier to start a business. It's never been easier to grow a business. It's never been easier to be able to hire staff from around the world. So I think this is an awesome time to be in business. And yeah, the final words is just have fun and build the business of your dreams.
It's super exciting. Yay. Thank you so much. Totally agree with your final words there as well. Just have fun. Now, where can people find you? Where would you like them to go?
Cool. Yeah. Well, if people want to find out more about how to grow their business, no matter what level they're at right now. There's always another level. You can go to businessblueprint.com. So that is where you can access, first of all, some free information. We have a cool checklist that you can download called the Ultimate Marketing Checklist on there. So that would be one resource that I suggest that you go and grab. It's free. And then also, if you go to businessblueprint.com/training, I've got a couple of free workshops that I run there. One of them is 52 ways to grow your business. Another one that I do is around how to systemize your business. So if you're interested in that, there's a training on that. And there's also another one about how to find, how to hire, and how to manage a virtual assistant as well. So there's some really cool tools there to help you to grow your business. And I wish you all the best.
Oh, I literally love that. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your time today. I really feel like everyone should be going and checking out Dale. As mentioned, I've followed him for more than 15 years. He's literally a trailblazer, but living an amazing life with this beautiful family. So thank you so much for being here, because I know everyone will have got so much value out of this.
Pleasure. Thanks so much, Simone.
Thanks, Dale.